have seen, certainly in the British press, there was a Tottenham fan last week in Greece who met Ange while they were both on holiday. And as ever, we do bring you the best of the best here on An Echo of Glory. And I'm delighted to say we're joined by that Tottenham fan, Jez Conrad. Jez, thank you so much for coming on An Echo of Glory. As I said, you met Ange last week. I think The Athletic it was that picked it up, and certainly a couple of the other publications did. Tell us, just tell us the story. What happened?
First of all, thanks so much for having me on. It's been very illuminating listening to what you guys have had to say about Spurs. At a very interesting juncture in our history. The story with Ange, it blew my mind. We went to Greece on holiday for half term. We stayed a couple of nights in Athens. We went south of Athens. I don't know what your Greek geography is like, but about an hour outside of Athens, down by Poseidon's temple. And staying in a hotel, first dinner that we had in the hotel, walked in, saw someone that I recognised a little bit. There was a woman sitting at a table with some kids. Looks a bit like my old neighbour, and I was like, no, she's too old to be my old neighbour, especially with young kids. And then didn't think too much of it, and then went up to go and get my food from the buffet. And an Ange walked past me, and it just suddenly struck me. I was like, oh my God, I'm on holiday with Ange and his family. Yeah. Which, I pretty much almost dropped my plate of food. It was what a time to bump into Ange at any time, I think. Would have been pretty exciting, but 5-6 days after the Europa League final, blew my mind. Absolutely blew my mind.
And then, as from what I've read and from what I understand, obviously you were staying there for a few days. You then got a couple of more than a couple of mates to sign to give their signing to a letter that you gave to Ange. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I didn't want to go in too hard, too strong, too early. I sort of figured out these, he was on TV and walking around the pitch at White Hart Lane literally 24 hours previously to that. So I was like, he's probably here for the week. Let's play the long game. Obviously, updating pretty much everybody that I knew that supported Spurs about the situation I found myself in. And gradually sort of built up to trying to make an initial connection, lots of kind of walking past each other in and around the hotel. Kind of, it must have been pretty obvious I was a Spurs fan. I was smiling like an idiot every time I caught his eye, but also wanted to be quite respectful of the fact that he was, he's had a pretty hard last few months. He probably wants to de-stress. He's with his family, so didn't want to go up and sort of fan out in front of his family. So I waited till I had an opportunity when he was away from his family. Went over to him, had a very quick chat just to say an enormous thank you for bringing some glory and some pride back to our club. And that was a couple of days after I first realised we were staying in the same hotel. And then as you mentioned with the letter, very much egged on by all of my Spurs supporting mates, all of the multitude of WhatsApp groups that I'm on, that I was giving pretty much minute by minute updates about every interaction. He sat on the pool on the Sun Lounger next to me. Oh my God, we're eating in the same restaurant again. My wife was utterly fed up with me by the end of this holiday. I think my kids just enjoyed seeing me in this sort of near trance-like state that I was so excited. But then, getting towards the end of the week, and I didn't want to have another interaction with him where I sort of blurted out something that wasn't perfectly formed. I wanted to make sure that I was able to convey exactly how I felt, how a lot of my friends who support Spurs feel, and the appreciation that we have. So I decided to write the letter and get it sent to him via room service with a nice bottle of wine.
Jez, what a guy.
I didn't want to turn up at his doorstep and hand deliver it, so I decided room service was probably the less psycho fan way of doing it. So sent him a letter on Friday, sort of early evening, and then at breakfast the next day, just was sort of sat there facing the entrance, just hoping that he would walk in, and that he hadn't sort of taken an early flight out on Saturday morning, or he hadn't, called a security guard because he was worried that there was a stalker. And yeah, he came in, he walked past. I was drinking my coffee at the time, sort of, raised my coffee to him and, g'day, mate. And then he sort of sat his kids down, went up to the buffet again, and I was like, right, this is my chance. Walked over to him and sort of said, thanks so much again, Ange. I'm actually leaving today, but I just wanted to, shake by the hand and grab that photo that you mentioned the other day. But also, I hope you like the wine. And he's like, oh, mate, that I'm not going to do that. Mate, thank you so much. The wine was delicious. Really, really kind of you to do that. But to be honest, mate, it was the letter that meant so much more to me.
Yeah.
Which was just like, oh my God, don't cry, Jez, don't cry. And then we took a quick photo, and went our separate ways. And I sat back down at my table. I had my back to where he was sitting, and my daughter, who was facing me, and I was sort of recounting to my wife and children exactly the interaction that I'd had with Ange. And then my daughter's face, like her jaw just sort of dropped. And I was like, oh no, maybe he's like overheard me talking about, our interaction. Maybe he's really upset. Maybe he's going to come over and, have a go at me. And he sort of came over, he tapped me on the shoulder. And he's like, oh, Jez, mate, I was hoping I was going to, I'm sorry, I'm doing the accent again.
Not too bad.
I was hoping that I was going to see you again at breakfast. I've got something for you.
Wow.
And he pulled out the shirt that's just up there.
Brilliant.
And he signed it to Jez, and he autographed it, and then wrote Coys underneath. And I didn't know what to do. I mean, again, sort of trying to contain my emotions was tricky, but amazing moment. Such a nice guy, super humble, really approachable. Just really, yeah, can't say enough about him. What a guy.
I know you had a question.
Yeah. I just want to ask, like, I mean, after such an amazing interaction, I mean, how are you feeling now? I mean, it must be a bit of a come down after something like that.
It is. I mean, it's been such a complicated season for so many reasons. I mean, obviously, he's given me my happiest Spurs memory. That's for sure. And I think it's probably the right decision. I mean, it is really, in the aftermath of all the excitement of Bilbao, it's a bit of a buzzkill. But if you look at the long term project, or you look at the long term, what's best for the club, it's a good opportunity for him to kind of leave head held high. Don't in any way tarnish the amazing legend reputation that you've just built.
Yeah.
The league form has obviously been super frustrating and just not great. Could it have turned around? I don't know. Could this have been the springboard to really kind of to reset? And I don't know. But yeah, just really sad for him as a person, to be honest. I mean, he as the letter says, he sort of fought and stuck up for our club in a way that Conte definitely didn't. Mourinho definitely didn't. So many of our managers have never really kind of picked that line of argument with the media in a way that Ange did. And I think, I mean, I'm sure you guys agree. I feel as Spurs just get a disproportionate amount of negativity from all corners of the media, and also all corners of football fandom. I mean, we seem to be sort of the club that everybody loves to hate. And he would call it out, and he would not just accept that. And he did his absolute best to try and change the perception of our club, or to fight for the reputation of our club. And that is one of the multitude of things that I'm super thankful for and super appreciative for. And all of the people that signed that letter underneath, as are they, and as I'm sure most Spurs fans are.
I was going to say, Jez, I saw the list of names and wondered if you were on like an all-time lads' holiday and drew the short straw, or had the nicest handwriting, so you were the one that was tasked with writing the letter. But, I say for me that the final, what Ange, and I'll always be grateful for giving me that moment with my dad and my mates. And clearly you've had a similar sort of thing. I mean, did you watch the final with that group of people, or who were you with? Because I think everyone's got their story to tell about such a momentous day, and Ange is inextricably linked with that.
Yeah. So my brother, he's actually he lives in LA. He was over he came back for the final. And we watched it together. There was lots of offers for exciting places to go and watch it, but I think the way that I deal with my Spurs trauma is sort of very much in isolation in my sitting room with only my nearest and dearest near me to sort of to see me in various states. So it's just me and my brother. My eldest daughter, when she realised the game was sort of coming to a conclusion, she took a very entertaining video of the two of us as the sort of the final seconds ticked by.
Release the tapes.
And yeah, it's not me in my finest. But it was just it was incredible. I mean, just the relief. It's been such a long time since I've had that feeling, and it was incredible.
Jez, this is honestly the most amazing story. One of our members, Craig, has put in the comments, "Why am I getting emotional?" And to be honest, when you were telling that story, I had goosebumps. And I have to say, without wishing to what's the word, a brag or whatever. I work in sport, and I'm around. I interview players and stuff like that. I don't know what I would do if I was on holiday with Ange, like 2 weeks after, because I can walk past whoever in the corridor and it's just fine because you're at work. But you
have to behave a certain way as
well. You do. And also, but I'd be gutted if I hadn't done what you'd done, Jez, because ultimately you don't want to bother him. But at the same time, you'll have that moment forever. And it is absolutely amazing. So I'm so glad you come on and recount it for us. And yeah, as I said, you've got that fantastic memory and that lovely shirt in the background. So yeah, thanks very much.
And that lovely shirt. That's great. Thank you so much, guys. Yeah, it's a very special moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's added very much to the whole excitement around the final. So yeah, and thank you for having me on.
Lovely stuff. We'll speak to you soon. Cheers, Jez.